Good morning, my brothers and sisters. On this episode number 158 of the Good Morning Guys podcast, thank you so much for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night as we continue discussing the game of life amidst the other games we love to watch and to play. I'm one of your four hosts, the Brazilian Mountaineer and Transition Ninja, Lucas Ham Swisher. Also with me, the judge of the jury and the executioner of fake news and spoilers, Patrick Novacell.
Oh, we're doing OG nicknames. I like it.
Yeah,
we're back.
You gotta do the classic stuff every now and again.
Nice.
I can't I don't want to throw you off every week, or myself for that matter.
Sure.
On his left and my right, only in spirit, the volleyball and beast of the East who can make you laugh in 3 words or less, Ronnie Johantis.
Miss you,
And right
Ronnie.
now, somewhere out there, he's going, hi.
Somewhere out there.
Oh, you're going to make me cry. Don't sing that. And then last but certainly not least, that beautiful baritone voice you just heard, the final member of our GMG quadfecta who's got music in his heart, Doctor Who on his brain, and La Carreta in his stomago, Marc Boucher.
Hey! How's it going?
Hey.
Good, how are you?
I'm here.
Really? I don't
No.
think you should undersell this moment because, Marc, you brought a little friend with you.
I did.
Making us a true quadfecta, fortunately, tonight. So could you please introduce our illustrious guest this evening?
Yeah, so of course, our friend that is with us tonight, he is a television composer. He does writing and recording and producing of music for a bunch of different television shows, much of which are part of our childhoods. And for that, I'm thankful. We have Mr. Ron Wasserman here. Ron, how are you doing, man?
Great. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're good.
Yeah.
We're good,
Fantastic.
man.
I'm really glad that you came in just in time to fill in for our other Ronnie. So just so you know, you might be our backup for the future.
If he doesn't want to be here, that's fine.
Yeah.
You are our resident Ron.
Yeah. So we appreciate that.
I'll take over.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, man. So just to let you know, and from what you could probably tell from Patrick's background and some of my background, we are huge Power Ranger fans. We grew up with the show since its inception. Started the day before my birthday in 1993, so I was pretty excited about that.
Doesn't make you? Don't you just love it when someone tells you that and you're like, wow, way to make me feel old.
Oh, I'm sorry. In 1994. Sorry.
No, that's
Yeah,
okay.
there you go.
But we're huge Power Ranger fans here. We love the show, and we absolutely love the music.
Thank you.
I think it's an integral part of the show, for sure. But first off, just keeping things current, dealing with COVID. How has COVID really been dealing with your industry, and how have you been kind of adapting to that? Because I know things
Work-wise, as far as the way I work, it didn't change a thing because from 1995 to present day, I've kind of worked alone.
Okay.
So when people would say, I'd have friends who are like, this is driving me crazy. And I would say, try 26 years of
No
where you
doubt.
get an email in the morning and you get a file and you work all day alone, then you deliver it and you get a thank you. And that's your day.
Oh, goodness.
So that part was the same. What sucked is I had a couple of pilots about to be shot and those got canceled and they haven't come back. And those people are still scrambling to figure out what they're going to do.
Goodness.
Wow.
It's just so, it wasn't the end of the world, but I was all prepared for that. And then everything shut down. I went, okay, it'll be a month or two.
Yeah. And then a year and a half later.
As we
And
all
a year
thought.
and a half later. Yeah.
I remember
exactly.
back in April 2020, it was like, by the summer, it'll be fine. We'll be fine.
They'll have this thing nailed.
Back to normal.
Yeah, back to normal. Meanwhile, we're spraying everything that comes into the house with Lysol or Windex and setting things outside to get an Amazon package. I leave them outside for 24 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Turns out that
Yep.
wasn't ever necessary. So I had more. I still have enough paper towels for 5 years. I wasn't a
Nice.
hoarder. It's just I would order stuff and they would say it's coming in 6 months and it would show up the next day.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
You're not hoarding toilet paper too, are you? Is that where all the toilet paper went? Oh, okay, good.
No, it was just turned out to be paper towels
Gotcha. Okay, so you mainly work from home though?
only.
Only
Yeah.
from home. Okay.
Yeah, it's been that way forever. When the only time I would end up going into Los Angeles is for either when we would shoot nights or for mixes.
Okay.
So that part was always fun drive through LA traffic. So
Yeah.
great. So many.
Mm.
Everybody's
yeah.
so nice.
It's
You need to make a
wonderful.
lane change. They're like, go ahead. They're
Yeah.
lovely.
I
It's
hear a
lovely.
sense of sarcasm in there. Not sure. Can't really tell.
It's dripping all over the floor.
Yeah. Everybody's in a
About-
rush to go to that lane that's going 3 miles per hour instead of my lane that's going 2.9 miles per hour.
You got to save those
Yeah.
3 seconds, though. I mean,
It does. They got to get
Hey,
to meetings. It's important. They
you
got a
know what?
script.
In the big city, you are like, if you get delayed by a minute, that can totally take 10 to 20 minutes off. Like
Oh,
it can
yeah.
add 10 to 20 minutes onto your trip. It is crazy. Like, 5 years ago, Ron, I would not have related to you talking about LA traffic, but now living in Sao Paulo for the past 3 years, it is madness. And actually,
It is madness.
doing the pandemic and working from home, becoming totally agoraphobic unofficially, it totally changed my perspective on driving. And now most of the time I just hand the keys to my wife because she has worked more out of the house than I have. And I'm like, you know what? I'll be the co-pilot.
Yep.
I got you covered. And
Yeah.
it's
Good night.
it's not, yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Maybe one eye I leave open just in case she's glancing over, but
The one
yeah,
she
the other
can
eye definitely
see.
closes. Yeah. The one she can see,
Yeah.
of course.
Right.
So,
But it slowed down work. But the video games I was working on, that didn't slow down. One's just been delayed, so we decided to do a smaller game that'll be
Okay.
out hopefully in a month or so.
oh.
And
awesome.
Are you able to
Nice.
say what you've been working on?
it's called New Terra, Terra. It's kind of a spaceship flying around, blowing stuff up.
Okay.
But it's
Cool.
real. But the
Interesting.
guy I did it with, we were also working on a really huge game, and he's a programmer, and his graphics are off the charts. So
Really?
awesome.
it's good. The new game just we got a letter from Sony today saying you're now part of the team, and
Nice.
whatever the hell that means. Now we can properly exploit you and take a percentage
you
of
go.
everything.
Yeah.
That's what it's really saying. But it's great. So, and that soundtrack I've uploaded. I'm waiting for approval. So hopefully that'll be available everywhere in a couple weeks.
Awesome.
Nice.
Nice.
Now, have you
it was
worked-
fun.
Have you worked on many video game, soundtracks and
No, it was a long
Music and
time, and
stuff?
I had so much television work or the songwriting stuff with Fisher or for the DJs that it's nothing I really pursued. And then
Yeah.
4 years ago, this guy contacted me on Facebook, said, "Do you want to score a video game doing?" I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
Nice.
after I saw some of the initial artwork, I went, this is going to be great. It's very cyberpunk.
Nice. Very
Interesting.
cool.
Really?
It's not too far from the Cyberpunk 2077 game,
Yeah.
failed
Yeah.
game, but the soundtrack's good on that game. So it's not terribly far from that.
Gotcha.
He just needs to finish it. I mean, it's a massive undertaking.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure. But that's really cool.
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
fun.
Yeah, we here at the Good Morning Guys are huge video game fans, so that is right up our alley. We will have
Good.
to
Well,
keep looking into
it'll
that.
be out soon. Yeah,
So
it'll be fun.
how-
You can
How
fly
different?
around and blow stuff up.
Love
You
blowing
can tell
that
how much I
stuff
play
up.
video games.
So how different is it to work on a video game versus TV or film?
Well, TV and film, it's always two picture. Unless I'm doing reality and they'll say, we need 10 happy reality show cues, make them 2 minutes long.
Oh,
But
okay.
everything else is scoring the picture. And this, it's just, it's different levels. And I didn't want to do what I've heard everybody else do, where it all kind of sounds identical.
Mm-hmm.
So the score kind of runs the gambit. There's some rock, there's some stuff that's like Deadmau5, there's some stuff that's just ethereal. So it was fun to do because it's so diverse.
Nice.
The hard part is later when you've done a hard ending on these, in this case, 23 pieces, and you've done hard endings on them, and then you realize, shit, I forgot to put an ending on for the soundtrack. So you got to go back and kind of conjure one up because you just ended up cutting the file so it could loop if somebody's staying in that environment for an excessively long time.
Wow.
So there's all that math involved. It's very hard.
Yeah, it sounds like it for sure.
Better you than me.
Help keep my sanity. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So, Lucas, I know you want to kind of ask the question because it's as typical of all of our.
I mean, you've made music for video
Lucas.
games. Do you play video games?
No. I'm sorry.
I know we already knew that. That wasn't the actual question. I don't actually know what question he wanted me to ask.
Okay, so typically of every guest, we effectively.
I see. You want me to ask it just in case you don't want to get thrown under the bus. Is that what it is?
Exactly. Because I have been
Are you
thrown
ready,
under
Ron?
the bus for this.
This is how hard hitting.
I'm ready for it.
This is how hard hitting the Good Morning guys are. Who is your daddy?
It better be hard hitting.
Who's your daddy?
Who's my
and what
daddy?
does he do? And what does he do?
Basically,
that's the question.
It basically means tell us a bit about yourself, like where did you grow up and things like that. Now, I say that I have him ask the question because I asked one of our guests that question, and it turns out that his dad had long since passed away, and so yeah. and
thankfully it was a friend, but he still made it awkward. So
as friends do.
So
real friends do.
Yeah, that could be very odd in some cases. Some people I've worked with, if you ask, they'd go, well, there's a guy in West Hollywood that takes care of me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, just outside of LA. Started playing piano when I was 3. Started writing when I was 5. Had my first little published work at 5.5 in a finger exercise book.
Oh my
which
gosh.
I've not been able to find, but I have the original transcript.
Okay.
Then I'm sure my music teacher probably took the rights from me and made $5. Who knows?
Ripped you off.
And then just kind of always was more interested in sitting around and playing piano. Did great in grammar school. Did great in junior high. I know now they've kind of merged it all.
Yeah.
And then in high school, I joined sound crew, so I have keys to the school, so I could go into the auditorium, which was empty all day, pull out the grand piano that was stored to the side of the stage, and just play all day.
Wow.
So back then, my teachers were mostly cool about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like 6 out of 7 of them, I can't remember how many classes I had, or 5 out of 6. So I could be gone for 4 or 5 weeks. I'd come in, they'd say, just take this test, and I'd pass the class. Not with flying colors, but I'd pass the class.
Yeah.
And then a couple, I'd walk in after 5 weeks, and they'd say, you failed, and do it again. I'm not condoning this type of behavior. It's very bad, but and my parents never knew, because back then they're like, oh, he's not here. They didn't think to call my folks, who would have killed me.
Wow.
So
we didn't have any cell phones or anything back then, or no way to track anybody back then. It's been.
Yeah, well, when I went, they would have to attach a piece of mail to a donkey and send it to to my mom's house.
They didn't have string running between cans, and it was pretty far along at that point.
They only had 2 miles of string, and I lived 5 miles away from
man, tough times.
Yep.
So that was part of my plan. That's why I went to the school that was so far away.
Yeah.
That's when you could pick it. So also did photography, came out of high school, and got accepted to this place called California Institute of the Arts, which was run by Disney, to take photography. And those classes I went to. But again, I sat all day in the ballet studio playing piano, and my photography teachers would say, why are you doing photography? I mean, I was good, but I wasn't great.
Yeah.
So I ended up leaving there, went to a couple other schools, took music class. By the way, every music class I've ever taken, they've asked to leave because I just didn't have a different process the way my brain works than how they would teach. So never passed a single music class.
Yeah, I went to school for music myself, so I totally get that.
I mean, I remember going into music theory in college. They said, by the time you're done, you'll be able to tell me what I played. And he played a melody, and I just said, went up, and it was in the key of C, and named everything off. And he said, why are you here? I said, I have no idea how that happens. I thought I'd try and figure it out. So it didn't, theory didn't work out. After that, just started joining bands and seeing what would happen. And it took quite a while, and got very close with some bands I had being signed, but never quite got there. Then ended up working with this girl, E.G. Daly, who had a hit on A&M Records called Say It, Say It.
I know that name.
Pee Wee Herman's friend was Tommy on Rugrats.
Yeah.
Not at the time. Rugrats hadn't started. So did that. That gave me my first taste of really working with great musicians, because it was Matt Sorum, who went on the Guns N' Roses, Matt Bissonette on bass, who went on to David Lee Roth and a bunch of other stuff. And then kind of floated and started songwriting more and producing singers wherever I could, working with them. And then in 89, a friend that I'd been in a band with named Ron Wasserman was working at Saban Entertainment and called me in to engineer for one of their composers. And we spent 7 hours talking, and then the last hour he just banged out 3 1-minute cues. And I said, what do you get paid for this? Now, I am dead broke. I mean, I grew up poor. I am still dead. I mean, as close to homeless as you can be. And I asked this guy what he makes. He goes, I'm making 150 a cue. And I'm like, you made $450 working tonight? So I decided I need to learn how to compose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
Fast track.
So I just started pushing, and in all the down studio time, I would just use their gear and work on what I thought was score, but it was still in the songwriting format. And luckily, a couple producers there kind of said, send me stuff, and they would just write back brutally harsh note saying, you don't know how to score, you're not getting it, you have to do this flow, it needs to change, you're still and finally broke me of the format. And then I would submit stuff to Saban for years for their direct-to-home VHS shows that they bought for $4 somewhere. I don't know. And they would not accept a thing I did, because I would do these really kind of energetic, not always rock, but this really fast hyper stuff that I thought kids would like, and they'd come back and say, whoa.
Slow the brakes.
That's not what we want. So I'm giving them fast stuff, and they want this very calming, an oboe lead with the little bear walking through the forest. I'm like, fuck that. Let's have some fun and bring some energy to this thing. So, and that led up to then X-Men, which was first, which is kind of a collaboration mess. Nobody knows who did what, but it took 2 weeks to finish that. And then months later, because the theme for Power Rangers was done in advance, they came in and they said, we need a theme for the show tonight. We have a presentation at Fox. And I was working on a song for this band, Fisher, I was in.
Yeah.
So I was kind of mad, and I didn't really feel like working on this Power Rangers thing. And so I just banged it out in 2.5 hours. That I remember.
Wow.
So I just went, okay. And just did it, threw on the vocals. I'd never sung. I'd done guide vocals for real singers, but I'd never sung on anything. So I just blew it out. I went, well, that's nice. It's done, and went about my night working on another song. And the next day they called, they said, Fox loved it. And I said, who are we going to get to sing it? And they said, no, we're not, don't even touch the mix. It was a very rough mix, meaning I could have made it sound a little better, but they said, that's it. And then the show exploded, and they said, now we need songs, and you could do the whole score. And from that moment on, I could do the fastest, hardest stuff within parameters.
Yeah, of course.
But I was able to give him carte blanche, and all of a sudden, all this very hyper, fast, energetic stuff was completely acceptable, and I'm a genius, and all. It's kind of funny because I'd been trying to do that prior, but now that it worked, that's how it always is.
So the cut that we hear today of the Power Rangers theme, that's the cut you submitted?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Now the thing was changed. If you listen to the high harmonies, I get pretty close.
Yeah.
But it's not. I mean, if you really can hear it, they're a little flat because they're so freaking high too.
Yeah.
Plus, I was thinking it's a guide. It doesn't have to be perfect.
No.
So it was complete luck that I just sat down. I remember that guitar hook came first thing, and I went, all right, well, I like this. And then the rest just came along. Later on, the long version of the song was written, but that 1 minute theme was just done quickly.
Goodness. Okay.
Wow. That's you're speaking my childhood here, and just to know that it only took you just a couple hours to put something together that is, I mean, this is a globally known song that you did it so quickly, and you're like, good, I'm done. I don't want to do this, and then they love it, and then everyone else loves it, and it becomes a huge hit. Like, that blows my mind.
And not only do they love it,
absolutely no idea.
Not only do they love it, they're like, this is what we're going to use. And you probably, as a musician, you're just like, wait, no, I can do something that's a little cleaner or a little this or that.
No, we're good.
So,
let me fix it. Let me do something. They're like, no, that's
so hilarious.
How it's going to be done. And I mean, even the guitar sound was, I'm not sure if I already had it or if I just quickly, I know I modified a patch and a synthesizer. I just had a guitar player, or I might have pulled up, I'm not sure, just a dry guitar sound and tweaked a patch in this synth and then ran it through a guitar processor. So it was just total luck.
Wow.
Total dumb luck.
That's crazy.
But that guitar sound fooled everybody. It was great. They thought it was a guitar.
Yeah, they had no idea.
Yeah, I can't play a damn note on guitar. I've tried.
We would have never known. I thought you were like, Jimi Hendrix Jr. or something. Never would have known.
Fooled everybody. There was a time when Fisher was signed, and I was hanging out with Eddie Van Halen pretty regularly. And at the beginning, he said, "Show me how you played that," because he had to learn it for his son Woofy, who was a big fan.
Wow, yeah.
He goes, "How did you play it?" And I went over to the piano and I said, "Sorry."
There you go.
Here's the secret sauce.
Yeah.
Goodness.
I go, plus all that shit you've got, I did it just through a guitar amp simulator.
Yeah, that takes you down a peg.
He had 500 amps. I mean, his studio was on his property. Unbelievable.
Goodness.
That guy was unbelievable.
Huh.
So that was a very high compliment.
But
I was nervous.
Wow. That's
goodness.
Really,
because somebody that famous, they can kill you and get away with it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to piss him off.
But you did eventually remix it or redo it, didn't you? Is that correct?
Well, the longer version I just added to, and then in 2012, for fun, I wanted to see if I could still sing that stuff. I think it was 2012. I can't quite remember. Maybe later.
That's what Spotify says it is.
So I threw up the theme to see if I could still do it, and I got through a verse and chorus, and I went, wow, it kind of sounds exactly the same. So I'm going to go through and recut everything and just do it for fun, just to do it. And spent about 2.5 months and did that album, brought in a guitar player friend that just blew out new leads and played a little bit along. We did it in like 1 8-hour session.
It sounds great. It all sounds great.
It's great.
All the remixes, yeah. I love it. And of course, going through that whole album, brings back a flood of memories with, Combat and Hope for the World and Go Green Ranger, all those songs. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's kind of a lucky break that because the original album was not going to have any dialogue on it.
Really?
But it was done, but the music was being blamed for a couple acts of violence with kids.
Yeah, yep. I remember that.
Haim Saban was really close with Bill Clinton and Al Gore and Tipper and Hillary. And so I guess Tipper Gore or Al Gore said maybe the song shouldn't be as violent. So they came in one night and they said, not Al Gore. The head of music came in and said, don't use words like fight or combat or anything that incites a violent attitude in a youngster. Use major chords instead of minor chords.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, this is like the church in the 16th century, but okay. I don't want to disappear. So
yeah.
Because I want to keep working on the show. That's what I meant, not disappear in a
right.
Vegas.
It's like, oh, okay, we got the mafia involved in this. Okay, good to know.
You'd be surprised.
So then the songs became more uplifting with Hope for the World and I Will Win, but they still have an angst in them, and they were still all pointed at because I was exhausted.
Yeah.
I was so tired because I was doing that and VR Troopers and Sweet Valley High and every promo they had and if they sent commercials and then any other show they were shopping, I was just cranking stuff out at it at an unbelievable rate.
Man, I didn't realize you did the music for Sweet Valley High.
And that is my ex-wife, the band Fisher, that I had to beg her to sing that thing. And she came in reluctantly, did her vocals, and then after the show came out, I got a call from an ad agency and said, do you know who that singer is? We want to hire her. And I said, yeah. And her very first out of the gate, she got a Comcast commercial, and then she went on to have about a 7-year run where she always had five national spots running at any one time.
Wow. Okay.
And union singers do very well.
Huh. Figures.
Very cool.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to it, but
Yeah. It sounds like good things happened. So what other projects are some of your favorites that you did, or maybe, I don't know, that you feel really proud about, or maybe are kind of like, with Power Rangers where you're like, I just threw something together in 2.5 hours, and then all of a sudden it became a national sensation. Do you have any other, any of that come to mind?
And this is when I started working at home, when they handed me, and they didn't care about it at all. They handed me Dragon Ball Z and just said, just score it, do whatever you want, just make sound. And when I'm
and
really
you come up with
happy
Rock the Dragon. What the heck?
Nope. Rock the Dragon isn't me, but the
it
score
isn't?
is.
Okay.
That big ethereal building thing. I never even spoke to a producer on the show. I don't even know anybody that worked. I don't even know what Saban's involvement fully was. Maybe it was just to do the score. So I just did that at home with an old Mac LC3, I think it was, with maybe a 12-inch monitor, my 19-inch tube television, and a VHS machine.
Wow.
That's why there's these long scenes of just building ethereal stuff and then these peaks. It would have been too hard to hit everything with my setup, but it worked out great for the score. They loved it. I didn't even know the show. I knew nothing about the show till maybe 20 years later. Someone wrote and said it was a cult classic.
Yeah.
I said, sure. Cool.
Yep, that's another one I grew up with.
Yeah. And then a bunch of other animation, which is fun. A couple games, like I got to work with the guys from Monty Python at a company called Seventh Level right after I left Saban. Did 2 titles with them. I can't remember. Was it Life of Brian? And anyways, so I did 2 things, and then Ace Ventura, and then a lot of other animation.
Whoa! Hold on a second here.
You're speaking Patrick's language. That's his favorite movie of all time.
Ace Ventura, yeah, favorite movie of all time. Was it the movie?
Oh no, a game.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Ace
There was an Ace
Ventura.
Ventura
I wish I
game.
did the movie.
Oh, I gotta look this up.
Yeah, it's going to be a company called Seventh Level, and it's going to be when it was on CD-ROMs.
Oh, nice.
So
Wow.
very, very restrictive on the scoring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tamaguchi, even the Monty Python stuff, they left a little room for some vocal stuff. I can't remember.
Now, The
It
Life
was
of
pretty
Brian,
funny.
did that have a game? Was that a game you
All
said,
right.
or was that an?
I'm going to go look.
Because I'm intrigued.
to
I saw
find
the
out.
movie Life of Brian, but I didn't know there was other. I don't know what even to call
So
it.
yeah, this
Other
Ace Ventura
forums.
CD-ROM game. I'm just looking it up right now. It's got like a old school cartoon kind of look
Oh,
to
yeah.
it, like a leisure suit Larry kind of game.
Oh my!
I
All right.
remember they did have a cartoon for Ace Ventura, so I wonder if it's the same sort of graphics, but in a game. Yeah, I have to
don't know.
polish.
They had such limit. Okay, it was Quest for the Holy Grail, Complete Waste of Time, Battle Beast. That was fun. Tamaguchi, Arcade America, something called Tracer, and other stuff I've never heard of. Yeah, it was fun. The company was in business about 3 years and ran out of money.
Wow.
But that was a lot of fun. And then the next super fun thing was in 2010, a show called Hot in Cleveland, where I got to work with
Betty
Valerie
White.
Bertinetti, which I was already for Betty White. Every week with Betty White, I taught Betty
Wow.
White how to play drums.
Wow,
That's
Wow.
crazy.
very cool.
It was super fun, and yeah, that was a lot of fun.
So,
So that was a big moment. And then worked with
Yeah.
Cedric the Entertainer on his show. I mean, it's just to be on those sets and work with that level of talent is a really eye-opening. They're brilliant.
that sounds
Yeah.
like a lot of fun. That's awesome.
So is there
They
something
could
that
read you the phone book and you'd laugh.
Yeah.
Literally, they
Yeah.
could say anything.
You can. So would
For our
there
younger listeners, a phone book is a physical book with pages where names were written and phone numbers.
So
Just in case.
last week we're on a family walk and we're walking past all the driveways, and in the driveways are phone books, like yellow page books.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, who the heck is going to read this? Like, everyone has a computer or a computer in their pocket where they can just look up or ask Siri or ask Alexa where things are or what number it is. I don't remember the last time I used a phone book.
Definitely not.
to stand on it, to use for get some height. That's the last time I used a phone book. But
Yeah, that would be it. Yeah,
Yeah, last time I saw a
if you
phone
were
book was
ever
like
short.
Yep.
it was one of those tough man competitions where they like rip the phone book.
Oh, yeah,
in
that's
half.
That's what they do with them. Oh.
That's what they do with them now. Those guys like run along the streets and collect all of them and then use them in their shows to rip them in half.
That's what it was. I can't
Yep.
imagine why anybody would print it anymore.
No,
mean,
I
you
can't either.
I mean, how could you sell advertising in that? You want to buy an ad in the phone book?
It's
Talk
probably
about
going to say
businesses
like
going
Get
out
outta
of
here.
business.
it's going to be like AARP or some kind of
But the print's too small. You wouldn't
Sensodyne.
be able to
Super
see it.
Yeah,
Small.
that's fair. That's fair.
Maybe that's the thing. Now you have something to do. Try and read this phone book.
Oh my
And you
gosh.
can never
Yeah.
find anything in it. I never could. I could never find a thing in it.
No,
Goodness.
you had to use a ruler to go across to match the name with the phone number. They tried to put those little dots
Oh.
that would go across, and it was like, whoo, your eyes would go across.
Then you go to your dial phone.
Oh my gosh.
Your rotary
Got
dial
the
phone.
rotary.
A rotary. Oh, we're going in the way back.
Yeah, we're going way back now.
Anybody with a 9 or a 0 in their phone number, you don't want to call them ever.
Well, that's when you force it. That's when you like move your finger the whole time so it
Right.
goes faster.
You call me. I'm not calling you. Sorry
Muscle
about
it.
it.
Oh,
Oh,
thank
so
God those days are gone.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
For
absolutely.
sure.
So I do have a couple of questions from our community. What we like to call them, we call them joiners. Though they're members of our community.
Hello, joiners.
Yeah. So we've got first off. So Lord Zukor, we have what's called a Discord. It's basically an app that you get your own little server where you can go on
Sure.
and speak to people and stuff like that. And so
I'll
mainly,
try to answer the question. I can try to answer the question first before you ask it. See
well, there
if
you
I'm
go.
right.
Let's see. Let's see what
All right.
happens.
So, are you ready with the first question?
I am. So, is there any
The
project?
answer is, never mind. Go ahead.
This is fun. I've never done an A and Q before.
Very good.
No, so he asks, is there any project that you would have liked to write, but it was the one that got away?
Oh, that's a great question. Yes, I did, and I don't know if it's just a coincidence. I submitted stuff for King of the Hill.
Really?
And
okay.
it was acoustic guitar, it was chords, it was kind of that, a little bit of slide. And then later, I think the guy who got the gig or played on it was a guy I had met a couple times called Skunk Baxter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
we've
he-
got the name. The name matches the show, so it's hard to compete with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it was coincidentally, when I heard it, I'm like, that's really close. But maybe everybody did the same thing. I can't remember if there was any guy. That was a monster that got away from me. And Parks and Recreation.
Ooh,
I had the
yeah.
theme for that. And then they just at the last minute, I lost it.
Ah, bummer.
Heartbreaker.
So there's two
Two fish that
huge
got away.
things that got away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been great.
So,
Thanks for reminding me.
jerk.
Salt the wound.
Salt in the wound. Oh goodness.
Gosh, Mark.
Hey, listen, you
Joiner.
can blame Lord
Oh, yeah,
Sukor
right.
for that.
That's true. Don't shoot the messenger.
Thanks, Nate. But so also got another guy on the Discord. He asks, ask him what's his approach to composing music for cartoon shows as opposed to anything else. Now I know you talked a little bit about kind of the notes that they give you, like don't do this, don't do that. But do they like give you the show ahead of time to watch or?
Yeah, they give you what's called a locked cut, which means it's their final cut.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll give it, and once you get the show and you've established the sound, it's just a matter of paying very close attention to what needs to be scored and what doesn't. Some people want score throughout because they own a part of it. They're going to make more royalties on the back.
Yeah.
And some are just do what's necessary. So you have to follow these scenes. You got to find that exact moment to kind of ease in or come in really fast, but not be too obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And you always have to be the background character that's just kind of helping the scene come along.
Sure.
So
Right.
in sitcoms, it's a little different. You're a bit more abrupt with going out. You listen to the last, or at least I do. I listen to the last word. So if they go, "Get out of here," I go here, find it in that key, and then go out to commercial in that same key. It adds kind of a smooth thing instead of there being any dissonant feeling to it.
Interesting.
And all the sitcoms, the actors are always very musical, so they're always kind of singing
Yeah.
their lines in a way. You can pick up that pitch. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes. Animation is also very work intensive because there's so much going on. It's just insanity. So you have to be very focused, but at the same time, I never hear the sound effects. So you have to be hyper aware of what's going to be going on in the room. And there's a lot of times where I could be scoring something, but the room tone or the drone of the machine's in a different key. And so on the mix stage, it's easier to change the pitch of that machine than it is for me to score in a different key. So they'll try and adjust it so they don't have a conflict.
Gotcha.
Or they just duck the music out and I'm screwed because I like the machine better.
Oh, goodness. Awesome. So let's see. I've got You Done Messed Up, AA Ron. That is his name in the Discord. I know that he is actually he's basically really trying to dip his feet in the water in terms of like putting his music out there in terms of licensing and things like that. And so his question to you is, what advice would you recommend to someone trying to get started in music licensing in 2021?
Well, and having their stuff licensed, that is an incredibly competitive thing. But luckily, there's a lot of online places, for example, like Audio Jungle. I put a bunch of classical stuff up there. I can suddenly get a notice that's been licensed for a film. Somebody's doing it for YouTube or for whatever personal projects they have. And the fees vary on that. So that's one way to do it. Get into television for licensing, you have to have a name. So if you're young and you really want to break in, it's best to intern for a music supervisor that's big, which means you're going to be running and getting them coffee or doing whatever you have to do. But eventually you start making all these connections, and that's another way in. I mean, and it's the rite of passage too for composers. You start off as a slave.
Yeah. Started from the bottom.
Really do. Yeah, I had one friend I've had maybe 50 composers ask me that over the years, but one which I'm friends with actually took my advice. He moved out of Idaho. He moved to LA, and he knocked on the door for a remote control, which is Hans Zimmer's place.
Wow.
And they gave him a job like I think his first job was cleaning stuff.
Yeah.
Then they gave him a job organizing the sample library, which back then was in something called a Giga format. And then they said, hey, he became friends with all the guys that were composing because it's, there's 10 guys there. And 3 years later, he was starting to do some score for the first Pirates of the Caribbean film.
Wow.
Pirates of the Caribbean,
okay.
Sorry. And that's the way. He just sat there nose to the grindstone. So you got to be willing to be available 24/7 to get into this business. It's and look, when I was on Hot in Cleveland, we started in 2010. There were people who went and delivered scripts at 5 a.m. or 3 a.m. when we were all done shooting, and the writers did their revision for the following week's shoot. And now they're like associate producers on other shows.
Wow.
But they were there. They worked a lot of hours, and that's it. But they worked their way up the ladder. That's how it goes. So that's one way to look at it. If this person's in a city where they can intern, that's a way in.
Yeah. Definitely. And I know he's definitely starting to put his stuff out there. I guess there's a service called Pond 5 that he's jumped on.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
But he's starting to put his
at
music
Pond
on
5
there. So yeah, he's starting to put.
You never know what's going to happen, but even if you got picked up for something big, they're doing a buyout. So it's hard to make. You don't really know where the stuff goes.
Sure. Yep. Absolutely.
So it's a ton of self promotion, and of course the world changed a lot, so you can do a lot more online.
Right. Absolutely.
When I started, I was sending cassette tapes and letters to record companies.
Gotcha. So going back real quick, I know you kind of touched on some of the people that you hung out with in terms of like musicians and stuff like Eddie Van Halen and people like that. Got to ask you, obviously a lot of what you were putting into your early stuff and then going into Power Rangers is obviously of a harder rock nature. So I'm guessing you're more of a rock fan. Like who are your musical influences when you're listening to music? Like what's in your computer or your phone that you're listening to right now or in the past?
Well, it's always extremely diverse. So
Okay.
I could be in the car. Today it was the exciting CNN news.
Ooh.
This morning, yeah.
Enthralling.
But there'll be times, literally, it runs the gamut. I mean, I grew up mainly listening to pop, but and then I got very much into Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin. But at the same time, then I would listen to Jethro Tull or George Gershwin stuff. I didn't buy a lot of classical, but I had classical radio stations.
Yeah.
And then I set up huge antennas. I forgot all about this. Huge antennas on our house, and I had sort of ham radio or some radio. And at night, I would just slowly dial through and fine tune, pick up stations in South America, and start listening to different types of music that they were playing. I didn't understand, but there was a lot of really cool bossa nova stuff. So it's always been really diverse. But right now it's been like lately, also today, pulled up a Moon-Shaped Pool by Radiohead, which I just love the sound of that record.
Yeah.
But there'll be times I'm like I had 2 days where I just was listening to every day live recording to David Bowie I could find.
Nice. Okay.
And there's a lot of modern stuff mixed into. I'll go listen to the top 50 at Apple Music. But to be honest with you, I can't. It's not just an age thing. I mean, I really can't tell mostly one from another. Occasionally one pops up. You're like, that's really different. But for the most part, it's kind of become the same tempo, same drum machine. Right now, 90% of all melodies on pop songs are 3-note melodies. They stay within 3 notes.
Yep.
So there's no great range going on or anything.
Sure.
And I always try to pick up the speed, at a certain part. And it's I don't mind how crude it's become, but and if I fell in love with one of them, they're gone a week later.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. Goodness.
But it's always very diverse, but it just depends on my mood.
True. That's good to have an eclectic taste. So that's always helpful.
You have to be well-rounded because, I mean, you have to be familiar with all styles, because I've had to write everything from polkas to gospel R&B stuff.
Huh.
Church, religious stuff. That was like on the I had to write a track for CeeLo Green and Cedric Entertainer on his show, but there was a full choir.
Yeah.
So I just had to do the basic track. It was a ton of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. Gotta ask you from a Power Ranger standpoint. Now, I love, obviously, I'm a big fan of the OG, but I also love the Zeo music and I really like the In Space music. What was your favorite season to do in terms of the music?
Well, I love the original because we didn't have a music library yet. So those first maybe 12 episodes, I had to score from top to bottom. So that was really the most fun. I love that original theme, but I love SPD.
Yeah.
It's got even more energy. So there's something about that theme that I just love. And I just love that screaming out that, SPD emergency! It's like, boom.
Power Rangers SPD. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I wanted it to come out of like a toothpaste commercial. Like, buy this toothpaste, it'll help it. SPD emergency! just to hit them over the head right away. And Mystic Force would have been a great theme too, but of course they went with rap.
Yeah, I don't care for that season, and we're not going to talk about that.
No, we're
not. Now, one thing we all want to touch on, and one of our joiners kind of it wasn't really so much a question as so much it is a statement. And so let me pull that up real quick because it just closed on me. Gotta love that.
I should probably turn on some lights. Hold on one sec. Go ahead.
So sorry. It closed out on me. There we go. So Chris the Rock on our Discord server, which he's kind of part of our extended team. We like to call the GMG stream team because we not only do we do podcasts, but we also stream on Twitch as well. And he's part of our group. He's a good friend of ours. He just wanted to make the comment. He says, "No question, just I'm freaking out. Can't find anything smart to write. He represents my childhood. The X-Men animated series has my favorite theme song ever in all caps."
Wow.
So, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so that's another big one that's part of my childhood for sure, is the X-Men. Now that was a co-write, right?
Yeah, that was done a lot with Ron Kanan, who was head of music there.
Gotcha.
And he had taken part of it from a song he had with a band that he was in. can't quite remember. I think the song had an odd title, like Piranha Canoe. It had
should
kind
have
of
kept that
staccato
title.
bass line thing. But I just remember the mix notes on that initially, mainly more hi-hat. All I could think of was more cowbell, but it was just more hi-hat. Then you turn the hi-hat on, you're like, now we can't hear the sound. So you push that sound, like, now we can't hear the hi-hat. Push up the hi-hat. Now it's in the way of the melody. Push up the melody. Now can you bring the drums up? Bring up the drums. Now we can't hear the bass. Because it was 46 tracks of stuff. I think there were 12 tracks of just hi-hats on that thing.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
a mixing
That's
nightmare.
crazy. Yeah.
I just remember every night going in going, okay, I probably have a note on the mix, and there's the sticky notes with producer number 17. Can you turn up this? Can you turn that up? But at least it got done.
Yeah.
It did turn out great.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely turned out great. I love that.
Very
that.
iconic.
Thank God they didn't want any
For sure.
vocals on that kind of thing. That would have never worked with that.
Nope.
No.
Doesn't need it.
Doesn't need it at all. Well, I think that's about it on the questions, but just want to give you an opportunity, Ron, to plug anything that you want. I know you're on Twitter. Is there anything?
Yeah, Twitter, Facebook, I guess everywhere else. Instagram, but Instagram, pictures of hiking.
Yeah.
So,
but that's your
well,
life.
a few other things.
People
Yeah,
wanna know about
exactly.
that. But awesome.
Well, I had to lay off mountain biking after a little accident, so
Oops.
I still do it, but not as much. It's more fun to hike. So yeah, working on this game, New Terra, Newterra, which hopefully should be out just about everywhere within, I'd say, realistically 2 months tops.
Okay.
And
Wow.
I'll have the score out soon. So as soon as the score gets at all the streaming services in a week or two, I'll post that at Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and go have a listen. Let me know what you think.
Awesome.
For sure.
Well, Ron,
Yeah,
thank you
pretty-
so much
pretty
for.
fun.
Yeah, definitely. Ron, thank you so much for joining us, man. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy guy, and we appreciate you
Thanks
being
for
here.
having me.
Yeah, love all your stuff.
Yeah,
Thank
you.
Thank you for coming
Appreciate
on.
it.
It's been a dream come true. It's really awesome
thank you.
to meet you, who has been a very integral part of my childhood, and really now still. But yeah, thank you. Really nice meeting you.
Yeah, man.
You're very
It was
welcome. I'm flattered.
It was a pleasure getting hearing the ins and outs of the music industry, and also, of course, talking about phone books and rotary phones, and being reminded how old some of us are.
What color was your rotary phone? I remember when I was a kid, we had a yellow one.
Ours was
I think
like
ours was yellow as well.
ours was burnt orange, and it had the shoulder part on it, so you could stick it on your shoulder.
Oh, gross.
And it was a
remember
wall
that.
hanging
Yes.
one. It was like eye level to you.
I think that's the color that went to West Virginia.
Yeah, I think so. They only sold it in West Virginia. It was limited release. They're
Yeah, we
like,
never-
rejects.
We never had a rotary phone in our house, but my grandmother had a rotary phone, and it was like a pinkish beige type color. It was like really
yeah.
odd.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, all
It
those
had to
good,
be special order.
Yep.
lovely colors appealing to the eyes.
Yeah, it was a very decorative time.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes, it was.
What a polite way to say it.
For sure.
Yeah.
But all right, Ron, thank you so
All
much
right.
for joining us, man. Take care.
Thank you
All right,
guys,
thanks,
everybody
Ron.
out there. Stay safe
brother.
through all this craziness.
For
Absolutely.
sure.
For
sure.
sure.
All right, see you guys
Take
soon.
care, buddy.
Take care,
Bye.
Ron.
Bye,
All right, bye.
buddy. Hope you find your dad.
Okay. That was awesome.
What a nice young man.
Yes.
What a nice young fella.
Yeah, that was cool. Very cool.
I felt the whole
That was
time
Ronnie.
like I was like, if you've ever seen that Chris Farley sketch on Saturday Night Live where he's like with a famous musician or celebrity, he's like, "Hey, so you remember when you did this, and then you did that? Yeah, that was awesome."
That was great.
I'm glad you didn't do that. That would have
Yes.
been awkward. You'd
I'm
be like,
sure-
"Yep, I do."
Yep, I
Okay.
did that. That
How
was
do I
the
leave
thing.
meeting? How do I?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, transition time. I'm just going to say it out loud because I have no transition to go
Yeah, it's
from
weird. It's
that,
backwards.
the wondrousness of talking with Ron Wasserman, to our lives that maybe or may not be as exciting. So, guys, let's jump into it. What's new news? We're doing it backwards and doing it not live. Let's start with Patrick, just
Yes.
because you did all the hard work in terms of getting a background that was perfect for the moment. Marc and I, we just have shelves with stuff on it.
Mark's got his. He moved.
Yeah.
He moved his Power Ranger stuff
Yep.
front
Sorry,
and center.
You're
I
right.
tried
You're
to.
right.
Kind of center,
call.
not really. Next to the
Frontish.
PlayStation. Yeah, this past week, I didn't watch any movies this past week, which is weird for me. So I'm still catching up on The Chosen, Ted Lasso, things like that. But what really caught my extra time this past week was the Artful Escape, which is a new Game Pass game. And this game is unlike any other game that I've ever played. It's about a kid who it's a coming of age story where he is I'm going to spoil a little bit of the story, but you get this in like the first 30 minutes of the game. But he is a kid where his uncle was this huge musician, and so people he passed away, and people are thinking that this main character of the game, Francis, is going to be the next his uncle. But he doesn't want to do that, so he ends up going to like outer space, and it's like a weird trippy game, but it's a game where it's just you move. There's no combat. There's a few puzzles and bosses, and when I say bosses, it's just you're just doing musical notes. This game is all centered around music. And so you have a guitar, you're walking around, you're playing the guitar, lighting up the background. And it's like more like metal. And you can see him just riffing on the guitar as you're walking through the environment. And you're just talking to people, moving the story along. But it's only about like a 5-6 hour game. But this game was amazing. Like, it's all about the music, and that's why, Marc, I think you would really like this game.
I started it up.
You did. Nice.
Yep.
So it's not a difficult game. It's probably anybody could play this game. There are some platforming elements, but as soon as you fall through, which I only did once in my entire 6 hours of playing this game, what it does, as I'm assuming it does for the rest of the time, it resets you right before the jump, and so you can continue on. There's no like backtracking. Nice. There's no checkpoints needed. Yeah. It's that jump right there.
That sounds like something like Guacamelee did that, where it would like zip you back to the platform you had just been on.
It's nice. It's beautiful. I mean, like, it would just keep the story moving along, and it is a chill game. Like, just sitting there, listening to music, walking around, jumping. And as you jump, if you hit the strum button, he does this like in the air, like big, huge chord. It's just like, it's really well done. But yeah, like it's so chill that usually I play games until like 1 or 2 in the morning. It's like 11 o'clock at night and I'm tired because there's like this game does, it's not like it's a Twitch shooter like Apex where it's like my mind is racing every single match. This game is just chill, and it's really it is a nice game for me to lead into Days Gone, because that's my next game. I thought I was going to do Avengers and then Days Gone, but this game came out and it was just a nice like middle ground, just play, just enjoy myself, and then go on to Days Gone. So I highly recommend this game if you're looking just for like just to sit down and have a good time and not worry about combat or difficulty. This is a really, really good game. I would give this 8.5. It's not a perfect game. I wish some of the boss battles or the the musical notes, I wish they were longer, because that's the best part of the game is when you're doing your stage shows. So I wish those were longer. So that kind of bumps it down a little bit. But yeah, I highly recommend this game. It's free on Game Pass. It's nowhere else. I don't think. I think it's only on Xbox. It may be on PC, but I don't have a PC, so I'm not sure. I'm not in that realm. But it's really good.
Cool. Nice.
As far as the life, football started, and
I did see that.
the Bengals won.
Hey,
and I'm in fantasy.
if the season ended right now, you could go to the Super Bowl.
They could.
You could have
won.
a 6-way tie for first place, and it would be a mess. But
yeah, and they won.
Undefeated.
And I would, if Ronnie was here, I would have a little bit more to talk about. But I know
I'm sure
that
you would.
Yeah, so I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep
hey,
that
I can
short.
pretend. Go ahead and throw some names out there, some thoughts.
So I missed the Bengals game. So I missed the second half. Why
are we talking about this?
They won in overtime.
Missed it.
I missed it. I listened to it on the radio on the way home because I was
old school right there.
I was at my son's soccer game, and I'm like, man, I really want to. I told Clark, I was like, you know how much I love the Bengals? He's like, yeah. He's like, well, I told him I love you more. So that's why I'm missing the game. Because he's like,
nice.
why are you gonna miss the game? I was like, because I'm gonna go to your soccer game. So went to a soccer game, and so let me go back to Saturday because the Bengals game was on Sunday. Saturday he also had a game, and he was in the game, and he was not paying attention. He was doing like the 7-year-old moves where you're just like twisting around, looking up in the sky, picking that dirt, and just like not paying attention. And I was kind of frustrated, like it's his second game. I know he's only 7. I'm not caring about how well he's playing. I want him to focus. I want him to pay attention. And there were multiple times where the coach said, pay attention, Clark. And it got me furious. Like I was just biting my tongue on the sidelines. So I said, I gave him a high five, said, good job. And we went on, we had some dinner. And then when we got home, I had to get into dad mode. Mm-hmm. And my wife and I really laid into him about paying attention. Like you have to listen to your coach. It's just like listen to mom and dad. You have to listen to your coach. I don't want to see you playing around. I don't want to see you doing dances or yelling or just not even paying attention. I want you to watch the ball and listen to your coach. So he loves his Roblox. He loves his Slime Rancher. He loves his Minecraft. And I told him, I was like, hey, if I hear your coach say, pay attention, Clark, you're going to lose your games for a day. For every time he says that, you lose a day. And he just like got wide-eyed. And so fast forward to Sunday. And I'm like, remember what we talked about?
Here we go.
Are we going to listen? Are we going to focus? And are we going to pay attention? And he said yes. And by God, he played the best I've ever seen him play. He almost scored a goal. And
all right.
And his coach even recognized it. Like we didn't say anything. We didn't tell the coach what we talked about or anything. But he noticed that he was paying attention. And you could see the body language and the inflection of the coach's voice when he was talking to Clark. He could tell that he was impressed of the change between Saturday's and Sunday's game. So I'm hoping he does that the rest of the season. I'm going to continue to reinforce the pay attention. But I was really, really excited to see him actually put forth some effort on Sunday. Because I couldn't stand him just like, what do you mean? When you're not paying attention, the ball could just go right by you.
Yep.
I mean,
or hit you in the face.
Or that. I mean, if you're playing baseball, and being in like the outfield, come on, sometimes you're like bored out of your mind. But with soccer, you're always in it. So he did really well, and I'm hoping he does well for future games and practice. And he needs to make sure he focuses on practice. But I never had to do that with Claire. She would always pay attention. She would never goof off. And so it was a little different parenting tactic with Clark. But yeah, so that's the soccer dad life, I guess.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
And that's really it for me.
All right. Sounds fun. All right, Mark.
Yeah.
So go ahead and tell us how's Cisco been doing with soccer or
he just stares at it.
Whatever sports he likes to play.
He just stares at the ball. Like Cisco is not a toy dog at all. Like he's a toy in terms of size, but he's
right.
But like he's got one of those Kongs, like those
Oh yeah.
rubber toy things.
Where you put peanut butter in it?
Yeah, that's about the extent of his toys. Like he's got a chew toy that like occasionally we throw and he'll run towards it and like nudge it with his nose and then run back to you.
He's like, "There's no peanut butter in this. What are you doing?"
Yeah, what is this? A sham you're running? This racket?
He just likes to run. That's all it is.
But seriously, how does Cisco sleep? Because we've seen how Rayla sleeps.
How
does Cisco sleep? Because we haven't seen any of these pictures yet.
So Cisco actually has basically his own chair. We have a recliner chair.
Like a lazy boy?
He's got his own recliner.
He has his own chair. Yeah, he's the only one that is ever in that chair.
Oh my gosh.
Most of the time.
That's hilarious.
We have like a little blanket, and he's the type of dog that he will bury himself in the blanket.
Really?
Yeah, and he's learned how to do it on his own most of the time. Sometimes if the blanket's not a certain way, he'll nudge it and stuff, and he'll end up knocking it off the chair, and I can feel him staring at me like, you gonna fix
Better
this?
pick that up.
You gonna fix that, right? I'm like, nope, sure not. No. Eventually, I do end up fixing it for him.
We know you do, Mark.
Yeah, we know. Yeah.
But yeah, most of the times he's able to figure it out on his own. He buries himself under a blanket that we have on the chair. But yeah, he's the only one that ever sits on that chair. So he does have a crate that he's in usually during the day while we're gone. But yeah, at night he's usually in that chair. And yeah, that is for all intents and purposes his chair. So
I've never known about this.
I'll have to get a picture of that and post it
for sure.
on the Discord and on Twitter
How
and stuff.
do your dogs sleep?
Yeah, we should do a
new Discord channel.
We should do like we should do a layout with all four of our pets. Like Ronnie can include his cat, his thankless
Inside the couch.
Yeah, like under the couch with
them.
just her eyes. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yep. So my week has been interesting for the most part. So unfortunately this past week I've been dealing with some pain again. Yeah, and it's kind of like right on my right side of my ribs and on my side as well. And so, it's been causing concern, mainly, because of the old gallbladder being a possibility. So I went to, after a few days of it just sticking around and being there and just, consistent pain, kind of throbbing pain. I went to the doctor and he checked me out a little bit and he's like, yeah, I think it's time for us to do a CT scan on you. Because they've done an ultrasound on me and they didn't find anything with the ultrasound. My gallbladder looked okay, but I'm still having some pain. So he said, yeah, I think it's time to do a CT scan. So they're still trying to schedule that. I should probably hear tomorrow if whenever that's going to be. But for those out there who are the praying type, please pray for me because I really don't want to get my gallbladder taken out or anything taken out. But I mean, obviously, if you got to do it, I got to do it. But because this just isn't any bueno. No bueno.
Well, I have heard if you do get it taken out and you put it under your pillow, the gallbladder fairy will come and give you just what you need.
I don't even want to know what the gallbladder fairy looks like. I used to be like a slob, like a green, gross blob.
Probably.
Like Slimer. Probably Slimer.
Score one for me.
I got the gallbladder.
Oh, he's got a patch. Got an eye patch.
He's got an arm missing and everything.
Can't wait to throw this on the Bobby.
That's what he does with it?
I mean, that would be my guess. What else
collection.
What else would you do with a gallbladder? He just eats it. He likes the
Put
taste.
it in his top drawer. next to his
Top drawer.
underwear. I don't know.
What?
I just hope he
What am I
doesn't
going to wear
put,
today? Am I going to wear my
That's the
Fruit of the
ooh
Looms
part.
or
You said he ate
gallbladder?
it.
Mark, I'm going to wear Marc Boucher's gallbladder today.
He makes necklaces out of it.
I'm officially disturbed now.
This has gone way.
Good night, everybody.
I did not even see this coming. That was great.
Oh my gosh! And in turn, they give you like a piece of steak, like just the thing that you shouldn't be eating when you don't have a gallbladder.
Really? Is there's stuff you're not supposed to eat when you don't?
to me.
Well, like your gallbladder helps you process fat. So if that's gone, yeah, you kind of have to stay away from certain foods.
Dang. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, which I mean,
Noted.
Yeah. So hopefully that's not the case, and it's something easily fixable with like diet and medicine and things like that. Hopefully, it's not something that leads to any sort of surgical procedures. But but we'll see how it goes. Hopefully caught it early enough. I'm not doubled over in pain or anything, so that's why I haven't gone to like the emergency room or anything like that.
That's good.
But it's just not enough. It's enough to be uncomfortable and concerned.
Right.
So, and just with the consistency. But this past Sunday, my in-laws and my wife and I, we went to a sunflower festival.
Wow, that is the opposite of NFL football game.
Yeah.
If I ever heard it
Well, my
on a
wife,
Sunday.
Kristen absolutely
Sunflower
loves
festival.
Yeah. Kristen absolutely loves sunflowers. That's her favorite flower. In our wedding, that's mainly what we had was sunflowers. And so my mother-in-law texts us like, yeah, there's a sunflower festival out in somewhere Virginia.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what I read in the phone book?
There's a sunflower festival.
Yeah. So yeah, it's literally out in a field of sunflowers, and they have food vendors and craft vendors and stuff like that. My father-in-law actually bought a it's
a
called
gun.
No.
What?
No.
What?
Put me out of my misery. I don't want to go to the sunflower.
Although if they had them there, he probably would have bought one. He probably would have because he's totally the gun enthusiast. No, honestly, it really wasn't that bad. And honestly, we were only there for like 45 minutes anyway because we came at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, like, hey, we're here for the sunflower festival. There's a sunflower.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready?
Well, no, they had all sorts of food vendors and craft vendors. My father-in-law bought what's called a scimitar. It's basically a cigar box guitar. It's literally
what? You said the words,
no,
but
it sounds like a dinosaur.
So it's
sounds like a
literally
really small dinosaur.
The Slimatarosaurus.
So the body of the guitar is a cigar box. And somebody has crafted like a guitar out of this using like a wood plank and a cigar. It looks really nice, and it's kind of like a banjo, but with a cigar box. And it actually has a
Slimatanjo. Slimatanjo didn't sound as nice.
No,
so
doesn't really fit so well.
They didn't name it after the banjo.
Slimatanjo.
So the guitar, the Slimatar only has 3 strings. So and basically with the Slimtar, it comes with what's called a slide. It's like a glass,
like the glass, the glass thing that goes on your finger. Yeah.
And so you're able to kind of do chords and stuff that way because 3 chords, you're only playing essentially 3 notes at one time. But it actually sounds really cool. And the fact that it has an electric pickup in it, like you can plug it in, like this thing is electric, and it actually sounds really sweet.
Woogie woogie woogie.
Where's your mind tonight?
It's all over the place.
Yeah, I noticed. But
it's not even past midnight yet. Sorry, continue with the Slimatanjo.
I'll have to get a picture of it, or have my father-in-law get a picture of it and send it to you guys. But it looks and sounds really cool. So he picked that up there at the festival. My mother-in-law and my wife, they both got a bunch of sunflowers to take home. There were food vendors, so like you could get like there was like a
Sunflower seeds.
That's the one thing they didn't have.
What?
No way. This is fake. This is a fake festival.
Yeah, like they had like a Mexican food truck
What
and
in the world?
burgers and all that kind of stuff. I did not see anything about a.
I feel like everything should have been
sunflower seed.
infused with some sort of sunflower seed something.
Well, like a lot of the craft vendors and stuff like that, like a lot of their paintings and pictures and things like that, all sunflower themed. So it was definitely throughout the festival. But no, that's the one thing I didn't see was sunflower seeds.
To be honest, I go to festivals for the food. Give me those deep fried Oreos.
For sure.
Deep fried sunflower Oreo seeds.
Yeah. That sounds magical.
We
chew it up,
however did not
Suck up the grease and spit it out.
You don't need that grease.
Nope.
Yeah, if I have to have my gallbladder taken out, guess what I won't be having?
Ooh, fried sunflower
spit
seeds.
can.
Yeah. But yeah, we didn't. They had got some ice cream cones there, but I didn't end up getting any food there because they actually talked about we were going to dinner, so we went to a place about 25 minutes from there. It's a place called Cheddar's.
Heard of that?
It's really local to Texas, and I guess it's also in this sort of Virginia. There's probably some in West Virginia.
There are.
Yeah.
This is so funny because last week you talked about Chili's. This week you're talking about Cheddar's, and it's like you're like speaking my lingo. I mean, that's like all over West Virginia. Chili's and Cheddar's.
Yep.
All the CH restaurants apparently. Chi-Chi's.
We don't have a Chi-Chi's here, unfortunately, but
missing out.
Yeah.
That salmonella, or I can't remember what happened. E. coli.
E. coli.
I think it had that E. coli, man. It's tasty.
Yummy.
It's gallbladder tasty.
The gallbladder fairy.
All right. So, but the food was good there. I enjoyed it there. But that's pretty much it on the real life front. I did buy a desk and an office chair to prepare for my new job. So that'll be ready for all the new equipment.
Getting all official.
Yeah.
Did you get a water cooler also?
I didn't, but I am thinking about getting a mini fridge.
There you go.
That.
Yeah.
All right.
But we're gonna have to go and clean out this office area and make room for the new desk and the chair and all that. So that is on the to-do list for sure. On the game side of things, I beat Psychonauts 2 over the weekend.
Nice.
Absolutely loved that game. Loved the story. Zany Tim Burton type stuff. Right up my alley. Gameplay was a lot of fun. There's a lot of experimental ways that you use your telekinetic, your psychic abilities that make the platforming and traversal through the game a lot of fun. There's a lot of opportunity for trophy hunting and 100%ing the game and stuff like that. There's a lot of fun things. Not necessarily my thing, but there's definitely opportunity for it. It is on Xbox Game Pass, so if you have Game Pass, play it because it is a lot of fun. I did fire up. I keep wanting to say Artful Dodger, but I know that's not the name of the game. Artful Dodger is a character from a play from Oliver Twist. What is the name of that game?
The Artful Escape?
Thank you. Artful Escape. Thank you. I keep wanting to say
kind of like
that.
the Artful Dodger as a backup name.
It's a sequel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. No, he's a character from Oliver Twist. But I did fire up the Artful Escape. Played the first introduction of that. It was late at night, right after. I think it was right after I had finished Psychonauts 2 that I fired that up and played a little bit of it. So I've got it going. So I'll definitely be jumping into that for sure.
So what did you do after you were finished with the introduction? Did you go to bed?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that game, seriously, you got to play it during the day because it will put you to sleep. It's a chill game for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, that's been pretty much my week in gaming is just moving the needle and finishing up Psychonauts. I can't remember. Did I talk about Hades last week? And
you did.
Okay,
you did.
cool.
You trying to break my heart all over again?
Yeah. Nope.
Appreciate
We're
it.
not gonna go into that.
Poo-pooing all over Lucas.
Nope. Sorry. But
That can.
yeah.
I mean, that could be a transition to my week.
That's fair. That's fair.
I like it.
Confession time. Are
Go
you
ahead,
ready?
Lucas.
I can't stop playing Hades. I just can't. I can't stop.
Got any more of that Hades? Got any
I've
more
now,
of those boots?
I've now gotten I've gotten about 95 escape attempts under my belt.
Goodness.
I am officially not one platinum. I'm one trophy away from the platinum, and I'm in no hurry to get it. I couldn't.
Which
I mean,
one
this
is
is
it?
a platinum that I just have to do the butterfly, the pierced butterfly run, where you get 30% extra damage.
Oh, okay.
That's just where you can't get hit in each encounter area. I saved it on purpose because I want to make Hades my platinum number 300, and I'm currently at like 262 or 3, but I have like 35 baby easy platinums lined up, along with like Ghost of Tsushima and a few other games that I'm going to get those first, and then I'm going to platinum Hades, make it number 300. And so I've gotten to the point where, you know, I could do one, like just do one run a day, one escape attempt. And today was the first day that I was going to do it. I did a stream. I streamed one escape run, had a little devotional time on the stream beforehand, and I finished, and that was it. It was a great run. Like I had Mirage Shot where your cast doubles. I had Crystal Clarity, so I was shooting the crystal beam everywhere. Like it was running on all cylinders. It was a really fun run. And then I finished the run, and then I worked and I did, stuff at the house all day. And then around dinner time, Mindy still had like 15-20 minutes before dinner was going to be ready. Or maybe it was right after. I had like washed up and cleaned the dishes, and the kids were like way behind on everything. I don't know about you, Patrick, but when my kids, the first couple of days after a little bit of a break is like the worst for the kids. Like they've forgotten how to operate. And so my daughter's still trying to finish her homework. My son takes like 5-minute showers, but he's just delaying it. He'd rather play with his Legos. And so we didn't have anything going on. Mindy was, on her phone looking at Facebook or whatever. And I was like, I think I'm just going to play a little more Hades. And so I started another run, and I'm just like, I can't stop. And and I know I have a problem because the other day in real life, we were driving down the street, and I saw to the left of our, the street, a collection of multicolored rugs and hammocks. And my very first thought when I saw it was, I wonder how many gems it would cost to buy those and install those in the House of Hades, because I bet that Zagreus would love that rug. I mean, it was a nice multicolored rug, but that's like was my first thought, and I was like, I have a problem.
Yes. I know exactly how it is. I remember when I was playing PUBG 12 hours a day, and I saw an apartment building. I was like, there's probably a sniper over there. I know how exactly what you mean. When you're into the game, it bleeds into real life. Yeah.
Well, just the other day, Chris the Rock, I think he posted in the Discord, or in the Discord or our WhatsApp group, posted a shot that reminded him of Days Gone. And in like right after he posted, it was like a shot in Days Gone, and he's like, and that would be a good sniping spot right there. I'm like, that's not good when you're planning out sniping spots in real life. That's dangerous.
Yes.
I'll get you
Could
sent to
totally
jail.
relate.
Yep, for sure.
Not to the jail part, but relate.
No. Yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, so I'm continuing to just love that game, play that. But I do plan to work on some platinums over the next few weeks. So when Ronnie gets back next week, I hope to have a half dozen crazy named platinums that, he'll be like, what are you doing with your life? And besides that, Days Gone, of course, I've gotten a couple hours in. Avengers DLC, I need to play through those so I can delete them off my hard drive, because it's taken up like a quarter of my hard drive. There's so much on that file. So
you need an external hard drive.
I have external hard drives. I just don't use them. I don't know what's wrong with me. Yeah, so that's been my week in gaming. Just good old Hades.
Cool.
And in the real life front, puppy update. Rayla is a stair master. She has mastered the stairs. She
All
can
of
not
them?
only
The whole
go up,
Like the spiral?
spiral?
she can go down the spiral stairs.
Yeah. Oh, she's not doing up yet?
No, she can do up. She could
Oh.
already do up. She
Oh,
would always
okay.
come up, and then eventually it's like, okay, we got to go down.
Yeah,
She's
gravity.
like, no, we don't.
Gravity's
I'm
wasn't a
staying
friend.
right here. Man, the other day, it was probably, I think Friday. Um, we just went on like a couple day run where we would put treats on the stairs and we'd get her down a few stairs and then she'd turn around. Eventually on Saturday or Sunday, we got to lunchtime. Like she hadn't eaten in 6 hours or so. I had her bowl of food on the steps. I was like, Rayla, come on. You want this food. And I mean, she was salivating everywhere. She was whining. I was like, just come down the steps. You know, I did that thing where I bring it close. And then as she got closer, it was like carrot on a stick.
Yeah.
And after a few times of that, she's like, I see what you're doing. And she just went to her bed and laid down. She was like, I'm not falling for that trick. So eventually on Sunday, I had to hook her up to a leash. And I mean, I practically had to drag her down the steps, but she adjusted real fast. I already had like treats going down each step. She ate each treat while she's going down a step, but she crawled down those steps. Like, honestly, Patrick, the first thing I thought of was the liquor zombies in Resident Evil, you know, when they're climbing on the wall
Yes.
and they're spread eagle, like the way they spread their legs. That's exactly what she looked like. It was kind of creepy, but also really funny because she's like, I don't know what to do with my hands. Like she didn't know what to do with her paws or where to go, but she creeped down the steps, and we've done it now like 3 or 4 times since then. And she's mastered the stairs. So
Nice.
I'm very happy about that because I think she's 40, getting on 45 pounds, and I can't carry her forever. That's just going to be just not good. I'm getting old. Can't handle that. So
Too old for this stuff.
Yeah, getting too old for this stuff indeed. Speaking of getting too old, we turned 3 years old this past weekend.
We did. We absolutely did.
Wow. It just crept up on us.
3 years of podcasting we have accomplished.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty fun.
It is pretty cool.
We wanted to just take a moment and just celebrate it. Ronnie's going to give a belated celebration, share some memories.
Celebrate good times. Come on.
Celebrate.
There's no celebration.
Sing it. Yeah, there's a party going on right here. Celebration. It's not going to last throughout the year.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. We ain't got time for that.
Take your good times and your laughter too.
That's right. Isn't it so funny when you talk through a song? And
Yeah.
like, this is
It's
weird.
Loses
Why are we
its
doing
magic.
this? But the first one thing I want to ask you guys, and this question has been inspired by Chris the Rock. I just want to take a moment and just share what have been your favorite moments over the past 3 years, and to stir your memories, your thought juices. Chris the Rock is going to inspire us this moment. He said, I really liked episode 98, Embarrassments. That was a fun one when we shared our embarrassing stories. Number 110, our origin story, where we recounted how we got together.
Yeah.
123, the GMG predictions episode. I think that was predictions for 2021 or what we predicted in 2020.
I predict we don't know what that episode was.
You're probably right. But you do know episode 129, which he also mentions celebrity dream fights.
Yes, that was a good one.
But he said, but of course, all the episodes are amazing. Thank you, Chris. You're so sweet.
You the best.
He said, my favorite memory is a selfish one, the start of a great friendship. Lucas and Ryan were looking for a third player to play Alien Nation with them, and I happened to be a bit on Discord that day and showed interest. And the rest is history. I now consider many of you brothers, but not in a light, hey bro way. Real brothers I can count on that lift you up when you need to.
Yeah.
Couldn't say it any better.
That's good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Great memories, Chris the Rock. Thanks for sharing, buddy. So do you guys have any memories you want to share? Anything looking back on that you have enjoyed? Highlights?
Yeah. Yeah, and mine is the ones where we had to remove parts from an episode.
Oh, yeah.
That are off into the ether. That's
Mm-hmm.
Those are some fun points.
Those are some fun ones.
One of the memorable ones was when we did an improv episode, and I was muted the entire episode. So
funny.
I know all about that life.
Instead of re-recording the episode, I just took the audio from everyone else and I just input new audio for me listening to you guys. It was, and I tried to remember what I said, so when I said something and you responded to it, it made sense.
That's crazy, man.
And no one's the wiser. It was only like a 45, 50-minute episode, so it wasn't too bad. And then it was one of those ones where I didn't talk too much, so it wasn't bad. But yeah,
you said it was improv, right?
It was improv, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you could have said anything.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
just...
So it wasn't like a long 2-hour episode where I needed to like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what I said. So
yeah, you had it a little better than me, where I was throughout the entire episode. We had to make me disappear because I forgot.
We had to ghost you from the episode.
Done some magic here.
To
keep our weekly episodes coming out. So I think those are some of the fun memories. I do like it when we do outtakes.
Yep.
As on some episodes, those are always fun to listen to when I'm re-editing the podcast.
For sure. Mark, how about you?
Yeah, I think for me, a lot of the ones like that we're super passionate about the topic that we're talking about, like anything nerdy, like video games, movies, and stuff like that. Obviously, I love the fact of that we've been able to have some really cool people on the show, both joiners and people outside from different walks of life, different parts of the industry. Obviously, we had one tonight that was pretty awesome. Both Justine Huxley and
Pathfinder.
Yep, Pathfinder. I'm trying to remember his name. That's Chris
Edgerly.
Chris Edgerly. Thank you.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I trust me. I really like his work, and I was just blanking on the name.
Sorry, Chris. We know you're listening.
Yep.
We apologize on Mark's behalf.
Yep. Mm-hmm. and having Norm Caruso on the show, the gaming historian. Those were awesome episodes where we just get to.
Don't forget half of the hosts for the Married to the Games podcast.
Yeah, we have one more to complete the set.
Or 3 out of the 4.
3 out of the 4.
Sorry, Tim.
Yep.
I forgot about you.
It was the most recent one there.
Tim, we know you're listening.
Yeah, we know you're listening, Tim. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll have to
3
get
out of 4.
We'll have to get Chris on here pretty soon.
That old Texan boy. Nice.
But obviously, acknowledging our Uncle podcast and how much they mean to us.
Sure.
Yeah, it's hard to put. It's hard to like rank our guests because each one brought a different flavor.
Yeah.
To them all. So I really did enjoy all the guest spots that we had.
Sure.
So it's been really nice to have a community, to have joiners, to have friends and family that are out there and want to be a part of a conversation. So it's been really nice, especially people we don't even know. Like why come on the Good Morning Guys? Because they want to, and that's really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I think the first episodes that came to mind that I really liked are some of our older ones, like the episode where we talked about death. And
you would bring that one up.
Huh?
I said you would bring up like the most serious one we ever did.
One of the most serious ones, but it was such a especially knowing that you guys were very nervous about it, and very much like, I don't know how this is gonna go, talking about death. And I feel like the joiners got to know you guys, got to know all of us way more.
Sure.
And I think those surprise moments where each of us have had, where we've kind of bared our souls, like shared a little bit of maybe tougher stuff to deal with, but it's still like we talk about games, but we talk about the game of life. And so that's been some of the highlights for me, besides of course the silly stuff and improv. I mean, the very first improv where we had no idea what was going on and we just whatever came out of our mouths. That's sometimes my favorite because I don't plan anything, and it's great just to show up and be like, let's talk.
And we didn't just not only death. I mean, we talked about love. We talked about connections,
for sure.
and we get into the serious times just to let you in, or let all of us into the way we think, the way we live, the way we love. It's been really cool to mix those in, because it keeps. I mean, we could be silly all day, it's fun and all, but being serious from time to time is really healthy for the soul.
We did one on faith as well, didn't we?
We did.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Lem Filial was part of that.
Lem Filial. Original. Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Here is a 3rd anniversary quickfire from the one and only Lord Zukor.
This will be 20 minutes.
Oh, Nate. Hope you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. We're going to go in the order of top to bottom on my screen.
That helps none of us.
I know. That's part of the fun.
Except for Luke.
It's gonna be Marc, me, and then Patrick. You're last.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. So here we go. Marc, you ready?
No, but here we go.
Great. Favorite movie trilogy?
Star Wars.
Lord of the Rings.
Back to the Future.
Oh yeah, dang it.
Nope, it's too late. It's
Yeah,
finalized.
Yours is good.
I can't be mad at
Wait,
mine.
hold on. Which trilogy?
The OG.
Okay.
As long as you don't say this prequels, you're good.
No, there's 3 separate prequels.
Jar Jar Binks,
trilogies.
favorite character ever. No, I'm just kidding.
Shut your face.
Shut your face.
All right. Favorite game trilogy?
Ooh.
Ooh, this is gonna be a lightning round. Oh man.
The Arkham series.
Ooh, that's a good one. Man, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go Uncharted on this one, even though without Uncharted 4, I don't know.
Uncharted 4, you need it.
You have to have it.
Bonus.
Bonus.
You get that. Yeah.
All right, good. Uncharted with 4.
Yeah, exactly. You need that. I'm gonna go with the Mass Effect trilogy.
Oh man,
Makes
that's
sense.
a good one too. That makes sense. All right. Next one is top 3 pizza toppings.
So pepperoni, sausage, and I mean cheese is a given, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
Okay.
cheese and sauce
that's
and
given.
bread.
Don't
Dough
even
or
choose
whatever.
that. Yeah.
It tells
Okay.
you.
I'm going to choose marinara, cheese, and bread.
And dough. Like me some dough.
Yeah, I'm an all meats kind of guy. So pepperoni, sausage, ham, any of that kind of stuff.
All right.
Chicken.
All
Okay.
right.
I know that's more
That's
than
a lot.
three,
More
but-
Okay,
than
3, Marc. Quit breaking the system.
Listen, don't give me
Lucas.
that, Mr. 82 honorable mentions.
He already has an honorable mention in a trilogy.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's right. I do. I do. Mine would be pepperoni also. Before moving to Brazil, it wasn't pepperoni, but now that I've lived in Brazil for whatever reason, I love pepperoni pizza. So pepperoni and then ham and pineapple.
Okay.
Oh, you make me sad, but okay.
I know. I was hoping
I can
know
get
I'm
on
gonna make
board
a
with
few
that.
people sad.
I can get on board with that.
Give me that sweet and salty.
I'm going to go with pepperoni, bacon, and onion.
Ooh.
Not mad at that.
Lost
Onion.
on the onion. Not
But
my thing, but
it's got to be thick crust.
okay.
Yep. Got to be the pan.
Got to be the pan.
I don't want a thin crust pepperoni, bacon, and an onion, because the onion overpowers too much.
Yeah.
Thick crust, then you get more of that greasiness.
Gotcha. All right. Top 3 cake flavors, and then in quotations, in parentheses says, "Is cheesecake really cake?" I don't know if that's like you have to give your top 3 cake flavors and then answer the question: Is cheesecake really cake? So
Okay.
Go.
Top 3 would be so there's this particular type of cake that I always get. This is the one I told you about from Kroger, the caramel frosted cake.
Right. Yeah.
Love that.
Okay.
I'm also there's actually gingerbread cake.
Yeah.
It's actually really good.
Okay.
And also any type of spice cake.
Okay. Very good.
Okay.
The first one I thought of has, I think, multiple names, but I'm going to go with the safe for work name called the Tom Selleck cake. Is that a name you guys have heard?
I don't know.
Or
no,
Nope.
I don't.
better than
Oh, okay, gotcha.
The better than cake. I don't know. Can I say that word?
What kind of cake is it?
I mean, we've had other words said on this podcast tonight.
That's true.
So.
It's called better than sex cake.
Oh, okay.
It's got a.
Is it?
It's. I mean, I don't. I'm kind of like Joey, where it's like, do I have to choose? Just
I have two hands. I don't know, smash it together.
So yeah. That's my answer to that. So there's that cake.
All right. Okay.
It's hard to beat that cake. There's that cake, and then there is a cake that my wife has made in the past called Tres Leches cake, 3 milks cake. It's a Mexican cake, or I think yeah. And then the last one is I'm just gonna go with strawberry shortcake with strawberry whipped cream and just good old fashioned yellow spongy cake.
Good pick. Good
Yep.
pick.
right,
I am
what you
also gonna go with strawberry shortcake.
Yeah.
The Oreo ice cream cake. Can I choose that one?
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna say cheesecake.
Yeah. So yeah, we didn't answer the question, Mark. Is cheesecake cake?
Has cake in the name.
Yeah, yes,
think it
technically it's not like a pie because it doesn't have a full-on like crust in the way that it's.
It does.
It
Like,
has
pumpkin pie is the exact same form as a cheesecake. It's got the creamy filling that
Yes,
makes it, and then
but-
it's got a crust.
But I can
So
say I can.
That means pumpkin pie is
You
a
don't say
cake.
pumpkin cake. Pumpkin cake is
It doesn't
totally
matter
different.
what the name is. It matters what its
But I
structure
will
is.
say
What is
this.
what
The
is
essence
cheese
of it.
pie? Is there a cheese pie?
I will say
It's,
this.
it is a pie.
It
It's
is
not
no-
a
Is
cake.
there's
It's
not a cake.
It's not fully structured like a pie.
It's
And
fake.
I will
cake.
say this
it's
because
the
it
hot
doesn't
dog
have-
of sandwiches.
it doesn't have the full-on crust where it goes up and behind the.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it
Cheesecake
doesn't.
has the full back and then the bottom. It makes a U.
No cheesecake I have ever had has had that.
You've
Well,
had the wrong cheesecake.
what-
I've had it
yeah.
at Cheesecake Factory has the back part that holds it. If you don't put that there, then it just flops out the back.
From what I remember, that does not have a back to it.
Cheesecake is not cake. It's a lie.
What is a lie?
Well, I'm not
Cheesecake
calling
is a lie.
Truth be told, cheesecake, you've been calling it wrong. It's cheese
It's cheese pie.
dessert.
Well, I
cheese
tell you what,
dessert.
What do you want some dessert?
I'm not
gross.
calling it
I
cheese
got some
pie,
cheese
So
for
That's
you.
like chocolate drink. That's like Yoo-hoo. It's like, I mean, I love Yoo-hoo. Don't get me wrong, but you look at the ingredients, it's like chocolate drink. It's like,
I got
what is
pop
this?
that's in the fridge right now. It's called Red Pop.
Red pop?
Yeah, it's called Red Pop.
Yeah, red pop. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
is
right.
it pop or is it
Yep.
water? I don't know.
Mark, how close are we to 20 minutes yet?
we're pushing along.
Okay, next.
All right, last one.
Cheesecake.
Oh no, there's two more. Okay, Mark, here we go. Any game you've beaten 3 times.
Any game.
Oh, and he said besides Dead Cells, Lucas.
Yeah, Ocarina of Time.
I mean, I could say Hades. That would
That's
be.
fair.
I mean, that's. I mean, it's. It is what it is.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can't think of another one off the top of my head, so I'm gonna go with. Oh wait, no, all the baby platinum games that I've beaten with Chris. So
Get the
I've
region
beaten all
unlocks.
those games. Yeah, the region unlocks. I've beaten a bunch of those 3 times. So Mechabolt, Jack and Jill DX. What else? There's a bunch of them. So just to name a couple. All right, go ahead, Patrick.
Resident Evil 1. OG for
Resident
PlayStation.
Evil. Mm-hmm. Good one.
Probably the only
All
game
right.
I had the entire year because I didn't have a job then. So
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, Mark, one thing you want to accomplish in the next 3 years.
3
This
years.
is so not a quick fire question.
No, it is
no,
not.
that's deep.
Thanks, Nate.
Oh gosh. Writing more music.
Okay.
Okay.
Writing more music.
Mhm.
I was waiting for Mark's answer that I didn't actually think of mine. So.
Distraction.
Distraction. What do I want to accomplish in the next 3 years? I don't know. I'd like to. I'd like to do a mission trip in another country with Brazilians.
Cool.
That's good.
I'll go with that.
Good.
Yeah. All right. Go
Pat?
ahead, Patrick.
So, podcast wise, I want to get to episode 300.
Okay.
I hope we
one.
get to that in the next 3 years.
Well, I mean, who knows? You never know what's going to happen.
What are we at right now?
We're at 158.
158. Yeah, I did say that at the top of the show.
If we're still going in 3 years, I think I love doing this. I'd love to continue to do it.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Well, speaking of that, Double Bacon King, Tim Pollin said, "Thanks for the 3 years of entertainment. When you all started the podcast, did you think all 4 of you would make it this long?"
No.
No, really. So
Well, okay. So let me qualify.
you had
that.
no aspirations or no idea.
Truth be told, I had no idea what was going to happen. I knew I was in it for the long haul, and I was committed to trying to go as far as we can with it. But I didn't have any expectations as to how far it would go, and I have been surprised by the community, the awesome community that we have. So.
Yeah, I would second that. I didn't go one way or the other. It wasn't like, yeah, we'll see how far this goes. It definitely wasn't like that, but it wasn't at the same time like we are gonna make a GMGU and take over the internet. No, it was just a matter of let's see where it goes. And so, I mean, I think when you have 4 hosts and you have 4, we have similarities and passions and things that we all like, but we have many different temperaments and personalities. And so there's always in the back of your head, like, is this really going to gel? Is it going to work together? And, I feel like we've really made it work and made it a kind of a escape every week to where, there's very few weeks, if I'm speaking honestly, there are very few weeks when I've been like, all right, I got to put on my game face, got to hang out with these guys. And I mean, I don't even know if there's ever been a week where I've been like, ugh, like, where it's like a job or whatever. It's always been I get to hang out with my boys. I get to hang out with the guys. And so I've been impressed that we've made it this long, but I'm also not really that surprised. So I don't know if that answers the question, but
Yeah,
those are my thoughts.
I am 100% with you guys. I had no idea, how long this would be. I had no idea. 3 years, like never missing a week, and sometimes multiple episodes a week, sometimes 3 episodes a week.
Yeah.
Never thought that we would do something like that. I mean, there were times when I was editing the podcast. This is like early on.
Oh yeah, where it was like 12 hours.
I didn't know how to edit, and I had to learn how to edit, and it took me a while. And there were times where I'm just like, I don't want to edit anymore. I remember we had those side conversations about like, I want to take a break from editing. And now, since we've been doing it for 3 years, 1, we've gotten better at it, and 2, we found better ways to do it. We've with technology and Zoom and the way what Marc's doing with his crowdfunded PC and all that stuff, it's been so much easier to do all this stuff now. That but like you said, Lucas, it's never felt like a job because it's always been fun. Even in the most difficult, tough times, it's still fun.
Yep,
Absolutely.
Sure. Fantastic. All right. Well, that's I think that's all we got for our hang with Ron Wasserman. And of course, the day in the life of the GMG crew, and just celebrating 3 sweet years of podcasting together. Here's to 3 more, like Patrick already said. And as is tradition, some quick housekeeping to wrap things up, where we offer towels, fluff pillows, topped with Andy's candies, and tip you off to the GMG news you need to know. Just to remind you, the GMG stream team offering content and conversations Sunday to Saturday. Check out Marc on Saturdays most of the week, playing multiplayer games like Splitgate.
Wow.
Fortnite. And
Love
Nightcat.
playing some Splitgate.
You can join him anytime you want. Yeah, no, seriously, folks. If you want to jump on Twitter, Discord, call Marc up on the telephone, you can get that rotary phone going. You can join him. He would love it if you joined. So
Yes, please.
It's not just watching a stream. It's hanging out and playing games with friends. You can also check out Chris at the Butt Crack of Dawn every day except for Friday at 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Why is it called the Butt Crack of Dawn?
That's a good question. Because nope, I got nothing.
Okay.
I
I
already used up
no
all
Marc
my
fact
jokes
for that.
earlier.
I need the answer in the Discord stat.
Yeah, right now. Write it in. The reason for the Butt Crack of Dawn. So he's playing Days Gone, the GMG VGBC game that Patrick and I are dragging our feet on, but we'll play eventually. And then he's playing Borderlands 2 with me and our buddy Blaze. And then finally, I'm just continuing.
Are you guys going to play Borderlands 3? Are you going to go straight into that? Okay.
Wait, I mean, we've talked about it. We'll see. It depends on how Borderlands 2 goes. We might put a game or two in between, and then maybe, because we've heard Borderlands 3 is really, really good and improves on some mechanics and stuff.
Hit me up when you guys get in.
Okay. Sounds good.
Sorry,
and then, no, that's fine. And then I'm streaming Hades. Probably will be streaming some platinum games, some trophy hunting games, and all that jazz in the coming weeks. And even maybe have some devotional Bible reading times, prayer times, talking about God, life, all those good things. So feel free to join us, twitch.tv, and then some names afterwards. If streaming is not your thing, you can tweet with us on Twitter, discourse with us on Discord. Links are in the show notes. And we would also appreciate, of course, some ratings and reviews on podcasts, Apple Podcasts and Podchaser. It helps us reach new joiners, so
yes,
it'd be really cool if you could do that.
It really does help us reach new people. This past week, it looked like we had hit a spike in our listens, and I think new people are listening. So yeah, rate and review us if you can. If you've already done that, great. If your mom hasn't done it, if your sister hasn't done it, grab their phone.
Get on there.
Rate us.
Grab it. It takes less than 5 minutes.
Yes, it's fantastic for us.
Mucho apreciado.
Yeah, would really appreciate it.
For sure. And then the last thing, we are building a GMG MAST 100 list, or the Good Morning Guys Music and Songs Top 100 list. And so I think we have a few picks to share this week.
Mm-hmm.
Ronnie will share 2 next week, as is tradition. And so Patrick?
Yes.
Do you remember your song?
I don't.
Do you know your song?
I don't remember it.
Marc,
can you help me out?
Want to remind Patrick of his
I
song?
gave it to him like 4 weeks ago.
It's Johnny Cash's Folsom Prison Blues.
Oh, yes, the Folsom Prison Blues. That's so my wife, she blows her nose and it gets like really loud. And every time she blows her nose, it sounds like a train. So whenever she blows it, I start singing. I hear the train a coming. It's rolling around the bend.
Nice.
Did it make you want to shoot a man in Reno just to watch him die?
Just to watch him die. Yeah. So I love that. And then that Johnny Cash movie with Joaquin Phoenix, Walk the Line. Yeah, it was that's a good movie if you like Johnny Cash. I really like that.
Yeah, it was first recorded for his 1955 album Johnny Cash, and his Hot Blue Guitar is the name of that album. Wrote the song after seeing the inside of Folsom Prison. He later recorded it live in Folsom Prison, of course. And he was talking about the song, and he actually came up with that line. I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. Now, it's interesting. I think Folsom Prison, is in California, I want to say. But yet he shot a man in Reno, and he's in a prison in California. But anyway, so he said, I sat with my pen in my hand trying to think of the worst reason a person could have for killing another person, and that's what came to mind. And also, they pointed out that when they first originally recorded the song, Cash didn't have a drummer in the studio, so he basically stuck a dollar bill inside his guitar strings and used that as percussion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't understand how that works.
I don't know either, but
you have to listen to the track, the OG track.
I guess I got to listen to it. Okay. Fair enough.
Lucas, what's your pick?
My pick is Weird Al Yankovic's Amish Paradise.
Perfect. Off of
beautiful.
1996's Bad Hair Day.
Yep, that's right. And this song, I remember it was one of the first songs that I just memorized for the fun of it. We West Virginians, we don't actually have a lot of experience with Amish, but I know that it was a great song. Like I grew up also listening to Gangster's Paradise by Coolio.
Yeah.
But that was a little too serious for me.
Yeah.
I liked Amish Paradise way better, and just Weird Al's music, and to me it just personifies his music and just that genre. So
yeah, Weird Al's the king of parodies. He's really good at crafting new stuff out of previously made songs. Interestingly enough, you brought up Coolio. The main issue with this song is, he recorded it for this Bad Hair Day album. He got permission from the record label to do the song, because you mainly have to get permission from the artist or the record label. He did not get permission from Coolio. He got permission from the record label, so he had the legal means to do it. But Coolio was not too happy when he did the song. Very much not a fan. Any interviews he had, he's like, "Yeah, they didn't ask me, and I didn't appreciate that." But later on in life, they went ahead and made amends, and they're all good friends now. And in hindsight, Coolio was like, "Yeah, I don't know why I was mad. It was awesome to have your song parodied by Weird Al."
Yeah.
So, but yeah, for a while there was some bad blood between him and
crazy
him and Coolio.
All right, Marcus.
I actually have Ronnie's pick.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so he will not have to do two. His pick was the Smashing Pumpkins' "Disarm," which very, very simple Smashing Pumpkins, very kind of chill Smashing Pumpkins song. It was written for it was the third single off their album Siamese Dream in 1993, which was actually banned from UK radio, from the BBC, because there are some pretty questionable psycho killer type lyrics in the songs, which were kind of offensive to the Brits. So it's funny, even though it hit I think it hit number 1 or number 2 or something like that on the UK charts, it got banned from radio. So, but still, really chill song, even though there's a lot of killer references. But and finally, my pick is this will be one of many worship songs on the chart, on our list. And this is one of my favorite worship songs. It's a song called "Revelation Song."
Yep.
It was written by a lady named Jenny Lee Riddle. It was written back in the late 90s. It was actually based off, she got the idea for the song, or at least she was inspired, by a song from the late 80s called "I Hear Angels" by a guy by the name of Garrett Gustafson. And later on, several years later, after she had become a mom and she was going through one of those rough days as a mom, that song brought back a lot of pictures of, Revelation 4 in the throne room of heaven, and just that whole picture. And she was inspired to write the song. And I have to be careful in being a worship leader, putting that in worship sets. I tend to be very sparing with that song, because there's just something that hits different about that song.
Yeah.
I don't want to play it
powerful.
out.
I remember singing that song when I was in chorus for church.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorites. It's a good pick.
Yeah, man. But that's it for me.
Sweet. Alrighty then, Pat, Mark, and the spirit of Ronnie J. Along with you, our beloved friends, family, and joiners. Go get your good morning this week, and may God bless and guide your lives as you live, as you work, and as you game.